Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Capricorn. If Capricorn is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, we have tonight the Four of Swords, which has everything to do with making a truce, right? Kind of deading some beef. A situation coming to a state of, maybe it's not like a win necessarily, but at least getting closer to completion, to being over, to being done with, okay? All right, Capricorn, let's take a look and see what do these tea leaves have to say tonight. And so if you have not subscribed, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. Okay. Also, if you'd like to hit the like button or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you, especially if you're new to the channel. Definitely shout it out in the comment section. Okay. So I feel like there's been this situation where I almost get the feeling that you have been trying to make amends with somebody who, it's almost like they're always getting in their own way. They're not in control of their reactions always, right? It's like you can get to a point where you're like, okay, let's apologize. I'm sorry for what I said. They say they're sorry for whatever they said. You're okay, everything's getting back to normal. And suddenly it's like something turns sharply in their mind and they're back to going on and on and on and bringing up things from when you were 10 years old, you know, like you stole my favorite football or, you know, whatever it was. And I'm getting this because I'm looking at this person here who is chasing, and it looks like a goose, right? Trying to get a hold of this goose, and the goose is either going to be running away from you, you know, making a whole fuss, or it's going to be running at you, trying to, you know, bite you, hook you. And I think it's this constant back and forth. I believe this must be somebody who you love deeply because you're still devoted to them. You're still around, right? You still maintain this relationship, this trying to get to a place finally where we're just good, right? And so, you know, I don't know that will ever happen. I feel like this is something, it's just part of your dynamic. And I wonder if it's maybe a sibling. It feels like somebody, maybe like a good friend. You've been friends since like preschool. You've known each other since high school or college or whatever. It's just like this feeling of trying to wrangle them. Like, please stop. Let's sit down. Let's take a breath. Let's talk to each other like rational adults. Let's de-escalate, right? And it just feels like it's in a frenzy at this moment. They're up in a tizzy. Something's going on. Something is going on. So I feel like you're in this kind of pursuit of peace. And, you know, I think it does. Sometimes it causes you quite a headache trying to get to that place because it's like trying to get a slippery fish, right? You got it, and then next thing you know, it's like flying out of your hand and it's flopping back towards the lake, and you're, you know. And so, yes, I think that at times like this, especially for somebody like a Capricorn, and I say this with the deepest love, I am a ascendant Capricorn, and I feel like it really, really is a strong aspect of my being. I mean, really, very much a Capricorn energy over here. But what happens with us, I think, is that we just want to get the thing done now, right? I don't want to have to keep coming back to it. I don't want to have to do part of it. I get like half of this thing done. I get 3/4 of this thing done. And then I got to put it down and go do something else. And then hopefully I can come back to this tomorrow and fix it. No, I want to do it now. I don't care if it takes me 12 hours. I don't care if I'm late. I want this to be finished. And sometimes, especially when we're dealing with people, right? Living human beings, we can't just fix it all in one sitting. We can't just, you know, get into a huge fight and then we say, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Everything's cool. Let's forget about it. You know, we've got this whole situation done and wrapped up in the same night. Not usually how it works. And it can become very frustrating, you know. Because you do. You want to go home and you want to go to bed and you don't want to have to worry about this thing that is happening, this conflict. I think I've even become very conflict avoidant, to be honest with you. I do not like it at all. I don't want to fight about anything. I don't want to argue about anything, especially if you don't live in my household. Right? I do not want to argue with you. I just don't, you know? And so I feel like you're kind of in the same boat here. I just want things to be cool. Sometimes though, we have to force ourselves into disengaging. Just letting it lie where it's at. Sometimes it'll fix itself. Sometimes it'll be forgotten. Sometimes, you know, it's just something that has to it has to run its own course. And I think this is very much a situation like that. You got to let them calm down. You got to let them come to their own senses. You got to let them figure it out. And then you can reconvene later. Now, at the same time, you have to let it go. Do not ruminate on this. Because you will. I know you will. I know you. I know you, Capricorn. But don't let yourself. Give yourself the gift of, even if you need to, distraction. Distraction. But really, I think, you know, just saying to yourself, can't really do anything about this right now. You know, I love them. I'm not going to continue to argue over texts, on the phone calls, you know, having other people get involved. Not going to engage in any of that. Just going to go about my life. Do my thing. And I think that's really the important feeling here. And we will come to a resolution at some point. Or at least a brief one, right? Because it'll happen again. It'll happen again. Now we have a deer. Look, and it looks like a young deer kind of sitting... laying in the grass. I had to get a little drink there. Laying in the grass. Maybe waiting for mom. Maybe just hanging out with a nice cool breeze and there's sun on their back and just being in a place of a little bit of leisure. A little bit of rest and relaxation. I think that this is something that you might have to really advocate with yourself for yourself. The universe is telling you it's time to take a little break. Take the afternoon off. Take a little weekend for for yourself. Maybe a 3-day weekend even. We have one coming up pretty soon here in the US anyways. I think it's Labor Day. I always mix up Memorial and Labor Day. I think it's Labor Day, which means, right, all the kids are going back to school. The end of summer. But maybe a good time to just do something for yourself. Go and look on, you know, wherever you are. Maybe you're on Facebook, or maybe even you look for stuff on the YouTubes. I like to look for all of the kind of local videos of different festivals and county fairs and, you know, whatever. You know, everybody kind of takes videos of all of the events that happen in the world now. So I like to kind of crawl through those a bit. But I think finding something for yourself to maybe go do. Go to a farmer's market. Go to a book sale. You know, here I think the mums will be out soon for sale. Here a big thing is buying chrysanthemums because they're so hardy. And we go from our, you know, our summer flowers into our more fall hardy flowers. And so once I see those, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's almost the holidays. They're coming. So, you know, I think that it's a good time for you to kind of maybe even sit back and reflect on how this summer, how this winter, wherever you are, maybe you're in the Southern Hemisphere. I know that we have quite a few viewers from down there. I was going to say down under. Now, yes, I know there are some from Australia as well. But I do know that, well, you all are probably fairly into spring already. And yeah, maybe this is a good time to kind of be rising out of your restful state, getting into the flow of this next season. And maybe you're even out there planting and getting your gardens going, and, you know, flowers planted and all of these beautiful things that are awakening. Take the time in the next week or two to really enjoy yourself. Go to, you know, the local brewery or a nice meal, or, you know, whatever it is, and just kind of sit back and relax. Allow yourself that. I'm trying to entice you into taking a little break here. But I think that it ends up feeding into just generally your spiritual battery. And I really think that's what it is. There is a sense of all of this kind of worldly matters, right? Trying to navigate the complexities of our family relationships, our friends, and other social engagements. It might be a good time to really focus on the interior stuff a little bit. And, you know, creating the space within your life to be able to do that. You know, and also maybe doing something that feels a little frivolous. You know, and I think that's the big thing for Capricorns, is that, yeah, we're not always very prone to doing the things that, it's like, what is this adding to my productivity? You know, it seems like I'm wasting a whole afternoon doing something that it's nice and it's fun and it's chill, but I could be doing, you know, insert whatever. The first thing I thought was I could be mopping the floors, which I have to do. And so, yeah, I think this is going to be important. Now, we also have a siren up here, and we have an anchor, okay? So I do feel like there maybe is somebody, and this is kind of switching into that maybe more romantic, or at least like a involved friendship. Somebody who you are very invested in. I feel like it's somebody, it's like, it almost feels like a relationship that has happened over and over and over. It's like the person that you go back to in between relationships. Like maybe it was one of your first loves. And when you are both single, and maybe even sometimes when you're not, you end up kind of talking together and hanging out and getting back into this kind of old comfortable place until, you know, it doesn't work out, because this relationship is not one that is really meant to be, right? Not at the end of it all. This is not like your soulmate for, you know, the deepest love that you'll ever have, this cosmic connection. I think this is like the person that you get through the winter with, and then, you know, it's kind of like, okay, well, see you again next time things get rough. And I know it sounds terrible, but I feel like, you know, a lot of people have these default people in their lives. And I'm laughing, I don't even know why. It seems to be a thing. And there's nothing wrong with it. I think we all kind of have that. For me though, it's I don't even know. Just kind of, I like to geek out, you know, whatever things that I like to like read manga and poetry and watch movies. That's my relationship that is there for me always. Whenever I end up needing somebody, that I go to the medias. But I do feel like you're starting to realize maybe, and I think that maybe this makes sense to me. You have this person, you know they're always going to be there, right? They'll always let you in. So then when you are in relationships that you want to be in, right? And things are going pretty well, but you just can't seem to get to that next level. You can't open up all the way, or something kind of goes a little sideways, and you are eager to figure it out, and maybe it's a little more difficult than you realize, or whatever, it's complex, and then you're just out of there. Or maybe it is that you're just out of there the first red flag that comes up. The first thing that you're like, oh, okay, no, I'm out. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you have somebody waiting for you. And it is kind of the ruin of relationships that might otherwise work. Because you know, there's always going to be this person. And I won't be alone unless I want to be. And so that is an anchor if I ever saw one, right? And so I feel like maybe you are getting to a point where you're realizing I have to make a decision. And I see hearts, but I don't feel like this is with that siren person. I feel like you end up really kind of deciding maybe we need to kind of fully disengage. When my next relationship gets a little rough, I'm not going to call him, her. I'm not going to text them. I'm not going to go rifling through their social media to see what they're doing, who they're hanging out with, you know, whatever. I'm going to move forward, right? And I think that's the big decision that you are coming to make in your life. And not easy. Not an easy one. Because I do feel like there's love there, absolutely. But it's so, when you've known somebody for so long and you are comfortable in those ways, it's like you just fall right back into it. You know, like nothing ever happened. And how can you have a relationship outside of that that's going to work if you know that that is always waiting for you? I can't see how that would be anything but ultimately kind of detrimental. Okay, so now we have a volcano. And I almost feel like it's like a person up here. I'm imagining they have something to pour on top of it to ignite it even further. Ooh, and I feel like it is. Now we have a person up here who looks like they're almost casting a spell. You can see kind of this line of stuff. And I do feel like this is somebody... It feels like there's a lot of random conflicts happening. Just like, you know, I don't know what's going on right now, Capricorn, but it feels like you just are getting it from different sides. Like, I feel like you really just want to be in a peaceful place. You want everything to be chill. You want to be able to focus on your work and not be bothered. But you have all of these kind of swelling, volatile things going on. And it maybe is not that it's like anything so very serious, but I feel like it's kind of, you know, that if you want to move to the next level of things in your life, you're going to have to do some maintenance here. You're going to have to clean some things up. Now, I also think that there is a person kind of on the outskirts of your life who is causing some drama. And I wonder if this is at work. It kind of feels like somebody who doesn't have a huge stake in your life, but they're out here telling your business, right? So we're going to do some clarifying cards. I have the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. And I'm going to pick 3 cards from here, and we're going to see kind of clarifying, what is this about? Why are they doing this? What's going on? How are you going to handle it? You know, whatever. So I'm going to flip through. I'm not good at shuffling, so I'm just going to do it my way. Now we have influence. Okay. All right. And I'm going to stop up here. Influence, seduction. Ooh. You have a busy love life, I think. Optimism. Okay. Influence, seduction, optimism. So immediately, I think this is somebody who is kind of, I think that there's an attraction. They have an attraction to you. And I feel like they are kind of going about this, kind of gossiping, kind of throwing dirt on your name a little bit. And I feel like it really is to ease you up in a way, to make you a little more vulnerable so they can try to get in there. And it almost kind of sounds like one of those like dating techniques or whatever, where I forget what it's called. I think it's like nagging or whatever. Am I allowed to? I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that on the algorithm might not like that. I don't know. But it's kind of like where you are unkind to somebody that you want to date. You might give them backhanded comments, or you might be very critical of them and kind of aloof or aggressive, slightly aggressive or whatever. And apparently people think that this is how you end up finding a mate, that you attract somebody. And I don't know if that works or not. Maybe. I don't know. But it does feel like this is kind of this like a kid, you know, on the playground. They like you. They want to hang out with you. They want to be friends with you. They want to be your, you know, boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. And they come up and they're like going to pull your hair, throw dirt at you, you know. And it's kind of like, what is going on? Why are they treating me like this, you know? And I think that ultimately the underlying thing here is that, yeah, there is an attraction. And I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but honestly, I feel like you kind of have a little bit of a soft spot for them. You might be a little bit attracted to this person because they are so brazen. They have a lot of gall. They are kind of, you know, how do you say that? Like the thorn in your foot or in your craw. Is that what it is? Your craw? No, I always mix that up with your maw, right? The mouth. And I think the craw is the paw or the foot maybe. But yeah, it's kind of this irritant. But I don't know, there is an optimistic resolution here. And I do honestly feel like there maybe is a little bit of technique and maybe even some luck to their game, because I feel like maybe this is kind of an opening for you. This is maybe an opening for them. And there maybe is kind of a love connection arising from this chaos. And yeah, I don't know. I would be wary. That's my only advice. Be wary of somebody that approaches you in this way. Okay. Now we have the fish. We have a few fish in here too. And let me just say, sometimes I don't even mention them for Capricorn because we know you Capricorn, you are always worried about money. No matter if you have a lot or if you have a little or you're doing pretty good, you are always thinking about your work, your career, how you're going to make some more money. And, you know, I think nothing is different here. I do feel like you are doing pretty dang well, though. We have this nice fish right here. You can kind of see that way. We also have a butterfly, and we have a bird that's flying overhead here. And somebody pointing. And I almost feel, I'm thinking of, maybe this is an Aries family member who has passed. I feel like you went to the ocean together. I feel like it was their favorite place in the whole world. Like they were somebody who always had a dream of maybe living on the beach or living close enough to the ocean that they could drive over there and sit and look at it. And I feel like you maybe went with them when you were younger, or maybe you went to visit them and they did live near the ocean. But I think this is almost kind of a reminder of slowing down and just taking in the beauty of life, right? Not getting so tangled up in all of these kinds of human affairs. Allowing yourself a moment so you can just look out over the landscape and take it into your being, right? Heart, mind, soul. And I feel like if you can remember what it was like when you were young, when you would go to the water with this family member. Maybe you were fishing, maybe you were just sitting and looking, maybe you're looking for seashells or tide pools or whatever it was. And being so immersed in these situations, in these little journeys, these explorations, and I feel like in some ways it's like been such a long time since you felt like that, because you're going from one thing to the next. You're dealing with one person and then another, and you have all these errands and responsibilities and lists and, you know, all of this stuff. And you forget sometimes how important it is to be able to just be there, to just be in the thing. And so I do feel like this is a time where, yeah, maybe you're going to prioritize that. And I do feel like, you know, so often I think we look for these really specific messages from those that we love, who have transitioned, who are passed away, and we want them to tell us like, oh, are you okay? Like, what is life like on the other side? Or, you know, whatever it is that you immediately are like, this is what I would ask my grandma, you know, or whatever. But so often they are in our lives and they are sending us messages, but it is almost always in an effort to help you potentialize your existence, to enjoy the life that you have, to dig further into the sacred work, into the spiritual path, into, some amount of ease and wellness and so on. And so, you know, these messages can come through of just kind of like, remember what it was like to look at the ocean together. Remember what it was like to be still for a moment, to be quiet, to really just take it all in. You know, and that might not feel as profound as like the lottery numbers, but these are foundational messages, principles of life. And so when our elders, our ancestors, our beloved ones come through and bring us these informations, it is such a blessing. It truly is. All right, so we're going to do our gratitude cards. These are from Purple Canyon, and I'm just going to stop where it feels right here. Let's see, it says vibrant canvas. I am thankful for the marvels bestowed by the gift of sight. Each glance highlights the world's vibrant offerings, enriching life's canvas with endless hues. Practice. Take a moment to appreciate the beautiful tool your eyes are. Always guiding and directing you in this colorful world. All right. Wonderful, beautiful, absolute. Okay. All right. Well, Sagittarius, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you, because I do. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And if you'd like to leave a comment, do it. I read them all. I look forward to reading the comments every day. And what else? Oh yes, if you're new to the channel, definitely shout it out in the comment section. All right. I'm going to tell you again, I love you. Take care of yourself. We're going to talk in a few days. Good night, good night, good night.